Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Nick's vlogs. And again, for those who are only partially familiar with Nick's backstory, and for some reason his files always get out of order when I drop them in the program. I don't know why. We start with the bench press, but at least we see all of his footage, and you guys see the exercise order above. Nick is down over 150 pounds. Right? He's in his 40s. He was over 400 pounds, decided to make a life change, started losing weight on his own. And no, I didn't help him with that. He was following my channel, taking some of my advice for lifting and stuff. But he got into marathon running, started running to help himself lose weight, worked amazingly well. And you know, that's actually more common than people realize. I'm not going to get into that spiel again. You know, a lot of people who are quite overweight get into marathon running, distance running, especially men, and find that the pounds just kind of shave off, right? They just shave off. I did it. I've known of other guys who did it. And, you know, again, it worked very well. Now he's at a point, though, to where, you know, he knows he needs to get stronger. He knows he needs to gain muscle. He wants to, you know, look better, be fitter, be healthier. And he knows the muscle and the bone density and everything that he gets will bring his metabolism up, and it'll make the rest of his weight loss journey easier. You know, because he's only part of the way there. Now, has he finished the hardest parts? You bet. You know, that first 100 pounds is the hardest, really. And for where he's at now, you know, he needs to drop about 40 to 50 more pounds to be at his optimal healthy body weight. So the strength training is going to help, but more importantly, it's going to help with his bone density. It's going to help with his carryover to his running. Now, we kept his weights the same. If anyone looked for this week, we kept the weights the same. And he still actually has another workout left this week at the time I'm making this vlog, because he was a little under the weather, got a little bit sick. We're not going to get into his specifics. He was a little under the weather, had to miss a couple days of training. He's hoping to be feeling better for his next race, because he's like, I've got, you know, in a few weeks I've got a race coming up and I need to feel good for that. So, you know, hopefully he's good. So, you know, obviously I told him, look, well, you don't need to train while you're sick. Get better. When everything's good, get in and train again, which he started doing. But he's still not quite at 100%. So we're not increasing anything. I'm having him do the exact same workout. Now, here's the thing. Nick's training for many people will be boring. You know, a lot of people like some of the stuff like Emma's vlogs with all the excitement of the conjugate and the different movements. But here's the thing I'm going to tell you. Those sort of training appeal to certain personality types. They're not necessary. Okay? In his case, we do 8 exercises. And that's it, with slow linear progression. You have 2 upper body days, 2 lower body days. Upper body days, we bench press, overhead press. We're doing dumbbell rows, and we'll add other back work eventually. I will add other back work eventually. I'll have to split his training up eventually. But we're not there yet, right? We're going to milk out this slow linear progress while he continues to lose weight. But, you know, he's gotten substantially stronger. Now, some things that I do want to see, I'd like him to pause on the benching a little more. Also something I'm seeing right here, I'd like his depth a little better. You know, so he needs to drive the knees out. He does good on the goblet squats. He usually does good on the squats, but I'd like to see a hair more depth from him here. But it's those knees coming too far forward. Notice the knees are turned in a little too much at the bottom. That's limiting his depth with his structure. I'd like to see that fixed. But, you know, overall, his technique is decent. We're good. And always get tighter and stuff on the benching. But, you know, it's a learning process. And there was a lot to learn when we first started. You know, there were major depth issues and all sorts of heels coming off the floor on squats. You know, benching, he didn't know how to stack the wrist, didn't know how to unrack it. So we fixed a lot of those things. And we just slowly improved them over time. We improve them over time. Not really a big deal. As long as we can progressively load, things don't need to be perfect. That's the other thing, too, a lot of people out there forget. And you get some supposed experts who pull that. They think everything needs to be perfect to load. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be good enough to safely load, and then you improve it over time. But I am seeing these squats coming up a little short. And it's because he's getting pretty heavy for 10s now. Right, he's getting more fatigued. because we've added substantial weight to these squats. We've added pretty substantial weight over time. But, so what are his lower days? Lower days do 3 sets of squats, 1 set of deadlifts. Right? What else do we do? Goblet squats, again, to help with his depth, hip mobility. Because again, taller guys usually really benefit from those goblet squats. And then he does reverse hypers, which again, older lifters, back, everything else, it's great, especially because he's running. Having weak glutes or a weak low back when you're running, particularly if you're still at a slightly higher body weight, it can hurt you. So reverse hypers do a lot for that. They do a lot for that. Now, we are a little bit, pressing and squatting dominant with some of this, but we get a lot of posterior chain and low back work, right? Because we have all the reverse hypers. That's what we use to balance it out. Because normally we might look at this and people say, well, he does 1 set of deadlifts, 2 different types of squats. Now, one of the things I want to note here, his deadlift form, as we're getting heavier, notice he's leaning a little too far forward over the bar. I'd like to see him bring that bar back and get pulled back again. Falling into some old habits we used to have. And I'm seeing them come out a little bit here. So it's stuff that we need to work on. And he watches these videos too after the fact. So he'll pick up on even the things I say here. And then, of course, I can always reiterate it to him in typing. Now, notice with the goblet squats how much deeper we get. Because we haven't really progressed much on those. They're done after the fact. Right? We don't feel the need to cut range of motion. Look how perfect they are. They look great. All right, so we know that he's capable of reaching the depth on those squats. We know he's capable of driving the knees out. I think it's just as we're getting heavier, it's just a little bit of a fight for him. And of course, then we finish up again with the reverse hypers, which, again, given what he does, given age, definitely worth doing. Definitely worth doing. And I'm not saying they have to be done for everyone. I know lately I haven't really been doing mine much. I've kind of just gone over to mostly glute ham raises, but I do volume deadlifts. And glute ham raises do work the low back quite a bit. But, in his case, we have this tool. It will help him where he is right now. It'll help build a lot of that area up, and it's one of the few things we do for really high reps. Right? Most of the stuff is around 10. The deadlifts are heavier. These are lighter. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.